Well, with me, Chief Minister, who's literally come out of the Council of Ministers meeting. I would love to be a fly on the wall there because things are moving very fast now. And we're talking about sanctions and things like this. Mirroring the UK, though, would that be the best way of putting this, what you decided to do at the minute?
Well, we're fundamentally interlinked constitutionally with the United Kingdom. It's always been the case that they've been responsible for external relationships, but also in terms of the broader immigration policy as well. We're working really closely with them. We've absolutely expressed our desire to provide direct humanitarian support to Ukrainians and Ukraine. Mm-hmm. And frustrating as it is, we're still working as closely as we can. As these channels open up, you sense there's a bit of pace coming into this. I hope it's only going to be a matter of a couple of weeks before that we see the impact of our offer.
So you're going through files, you're asking all the private sector as well to go through files to find people who may be of interest that shouldn't be doing activity at the minute.
So on the sanctions side, as I said, we've been absolutely quick to react as soon as the declarations have been made around the individuals and
you found many?
And the companies. Then we have acted. So the list of the individuals is being updated even as we speak. We are acting immediately on that.
Have you found much in the Isle of Man there?
Well, we are continuing to work with our business community to understand the greater impact, but I can tell you that at least 8 aircraft have been deregistered from the Isle of Man aircraft registry. A number of ships will also are being deregistered as we speak at the moment, and we're continuing to take action against those individuals who have been named.
What's the implication for that? They just can't go anywhere without having a flag on their ship, or they will re-register somewhere else?
Well, they would have to re-register somewhere else to be able to move. So once they're deregistered, that's it. They are unable. They're unable. It's illegal for them then to take to the skies as soon as they're deregistered.
Could this have been done a bit quicker? Because last week the sanctions were.
No, again, we are. I think that. We are looking both at the UK actions, the sanctions list in the UK. We're also looking at Europe, and we're also considering what further actions the Isle of Man might be able to take on a unilateral basis. But I think it is important that we continue to work with the international community on these matters, and that we do try and have some broader international consensus around who is being sanctioned and what businesses are being sanctioned. But I can also confirm that the FSA have written out to businesses today to state that they are now going to be requested to apply extra vigilance to any business that they are undertaking with any Russian nationals or Russian businesses.
And is there likely to be more people added to this list, or is it you've just done a blanket thing, all the Russian ship registries, they've gone? I mean, is it that sort of blanket?
Well, it's not as blanket as that. As I said, that's been determined by the specifics that are being listed in terms of the individuals and the companies with direct associations to the Putin regime in Russia. The situation continues to evolve and develop, and we continue to work to understand both the immediate sanctions impact, but also where else that's likely to impact as we move further forward.
Any idea to our exposure, and I'm talking about Arman PLC here, to Russia and neighbour, in the sense of what impact this could have on the Isle of Man?
Well, I think there's two aspects to that. There's the direct actions that are involved around those individuals and companies, and as that list expands and grows, the actions that we need to take. It's not necessarily that easy to say what that means in sort of percentage terms for the economy, but as I said to you last week, that it's probably not significant in the great scheme of the percentage of international business that the Isle of Man conducts. The other aspect to all this, of course, is the broader impact on the economy in terms of oil, gas, energy supplies. Ukraine, as you know, is known as the breadbasket, certainly a breadbasket when it comes to Europe and European supplies of grain, and so vis-a-vis the knock-on impact on food prices, as if inflation wasn't already having an impact. What is happening now is that prices are volatile, they're moving consistently. There will be significant impact now on the cost of living this year. That's absolutely clear. We are going to feel that as a society. And so as a government, we're trying to now understand what we need to do and work towards to try and keep our economy moving through what is going to be another very, very challenging year, as if we hadn't already had 2 challenging years on the back of COVID.
And gas is going to go up by quite a significant amount. Obviously, electricity, they've indicated, you have to agree with that, presumably, with MU, which is you anyway, isn't it, the government. Where are we going on that? I mean, this is just one more hike, but more to come by the sounds of what you're saying there, really.
Well, we've already seen gas prices rise. We know that the Manx utilities can only sustain current prices for a period of time.
They're building reserves, aren't they?
And that, as much as they have hedged and tried to control pricing, strong elements of the current crisis are filtering through now in terms of the prices, and it is impacting. So prices will rise. The question is, how does government try and negate the impact of that on those who are going to be most affected? Because we are seeing the likelihood now of prices rising to such an extent that you cannot escape the fact that low to medium income families will be severely affected by this over the next 12 months.
So another budget at some point to correct this, or you wouldn't wait another year?
Well, I'm not so sure that it would necessarily be another budget.
Just simply changes.
I'm not going to jump, but I think it's probably fair to say that this is not something that we're not looking at, and I hope that we will sort of step forward in the next couple of weeks or few weeks with some indication of how government is seeking to protect ourselves economically, but also help those who are going to be most affected by what is clearly coming down the road now from the cost of living with energy supplies and also food pricing.
Is there still a position for Manx Gas in this whole thing, with therms going through the roof and they're then being capped anyway? They're selling to loss, aren't they?
Yeah, we know all the energy companies, Manx Utilities, Manx Gas, any energy company that is sitting within the Northern Hemisphere at the moment, if not globally, is being significantly impacted by the cost of gas, the cost of oil, and of course vis-a-vis why the war in Ukraine particularly is impacting that, and is likely to impact that, as far as we can see, for some significant time to come. We have to try and plan for the worst here and hope for the best in terms of the impact. But we can see there's an impact coming if it's not already filtering through with inflation figures currently running at 6 or 7%. And we need to be prepared for that as a government, and we need to be doing our best to protect also our society from the worst ravages of significant rises in the cost of living.
I appreciate our time's running out, so very quick things. Ukrainians, and what's the latest on maybe direct action? Ukrainians coming to the Isle of Man? Are you getting further forward on this, or is it still just being worked out? Because you indicated that's now possible, isn't it? Ukrainians coming here.
Certainly that was my intent at the beginning of the interview, Paul, was to say, we continue to work. The frustrations obviously are constitutional and legal position in terms of our relationship with the UK.
Yeah, they've got to get a visa in there.
We're all frustrated at the pace.
But they've got to get a visa into the UK first before they can come to the Isle of Man.
Well, once the UK properly open up the route, the current visa routes are open to Ukrainians in terms of the family route. But we need that to be broadened out, and then we obviously need to work to get our quota or fair share of those Ukrainians who want to come to the island.
What is the quota? Do we have one?
No, not yet. I mean, those numbers are still somewhat hazy. As I said, the UK are dealing with hundreds of applications at the moment, and whereas we can see other countries have dealt with many thousands of people. So it's frustrating. We're doing our very best. We've made the offer. We're standing by. We're working with lots of offers that are coming in from the community, actually, in terms of housing, and so we're filing those. But until we get some further progress with the UK in terms of the routes and channels that are available for applicants from the UK to be processed through, until we get progress with that, only then will we be in a position to welcome them to our shores.
So is there an official way that people can register their interest to take in people, or is that still yet to be properly sorted out?
Those offers have come in on a voluntary basis. As soon as we can get some sight and understanding of numbers and when we can start expecting them, then we would certainly, as part of that, inform the community what role they have to play within that and how they can go about helping support those refugees when they come to the island.
Lastly, we have Russians here. I think, from what I understand, we've got Russians in private education, those sort of things as well. What impact is this going to have on those sort of people? Will they have to go at some point? How are you dealing with it? I mean, Russians who are living here and in the community.
The first thing I would say, we do have diverse community. We do have Ukrainians, we do have Russians here on the island, and I think we need to, as a community, be careful about how we characterise this and people's position. The actions of President Putin shouldn't necessarily be reflective on every single person of Russian nationality. So I urge everybody to treat all members of the community with the utmost respect. And of course, this position continues to evolve and develop. And I'm also conscious that some of those Russians, as you say, are school children, particularly at King William's College.
Who would go home for half term soon.
And I think it's the position in terms of their individual return to the island, etc., after holidays, will be something I'm sure that will be.
So you'll mirror the UK, right?
A family matter, but we are mirroring the UK on this, and I urge the community to treat everybody with huge respect.
And if I could ask you just to do a bit of crystal ball gazing, do you think this is a short-term thing, or do you think we're in for a long haul on this whole thing? I mean, it changes by the minute, but anything
it's a terrible situation, Paul. It's a very serious situation. It's got impacts on the island. You cannot escape it, whether we're involved in the sort of economic outfall or war in terms of what's going on now globally, or whether, in fact, we're just on the receiving end of the impacts of that in terms of food inflation, energy inflation, and the cost of living impacts.
And that's going to be there for some time, isn't that?
I like everybody else, hope that somehow that somebody will find a way to resolve this matter, and that a peaceful solution and a democratic solution can be found. But obviously, it is a serious situation, and there's a lot of complexities involved with it. So I live, in terms of looking at the situation on a daily basis, but as a government, we have to plan for the longer term here.